Hello, everyone, and welcome to this bonus NASS episode. I am your host for this episode, Jose.
I'm your other guy, George.
I'm Marie. What am I gonna say?
Marie.
Marie!
Uh,
Marie!
That's how your name is said if you're like hanging your head out a car window.
yeah.
Marie. And
Perfect.
today, we will be
Uh,
covering episode 4 of Alien Earth. We previously covered the first 3 episodes on last week's episode. And then Marie and I did a preview. So those are two things that you can go on to our Not a Strong Start channel and check out if you want to see what we said, what we thought about the first 3 episodes. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Through the years of cinema, we've laughed. We've screamed. We've cried. Forever asking the question.
What the hell does that mean?
Well, no longer do you have to sit there in wonderment attempting to figure out what your cinephile friend is going on about with terms like cinematography, ADR, or Dutch angles. Thanks to the good people over at Cinematicalism, they've done the impossible and compiled a 500-plus page book filled with on-set jargon and filmmaking terminology, all broken down and digestible for all levels of film fans, from the leisured moviegoer to tenured filmmaking pros. What is the book? I'm getting to it. It's the Comprehensive Dictionary of Cinema, filled with 1,500 terms culminating across 9 sections. Enjoy the language of cinema, from industry slang to academic theory, visual tropes to cultural movements, all curated by filmmaking professionals who have over 20 years of experience working in the industry. Where can we get it? Back it now on Kickstarter. Click our link below to be part of the many backers who have made the Comprehensive Dictionary of Cinema a project we love on Kickstarter. Hitting their goal within the first 15 minutes, now let's help them reach those stretch goals of a VCR player. Yes, you heard that right. With plenty of package bundles to choose from, there's no wrong way to support Cinematicalism. Again, click our link in the description and back the Comprehensive Dictionary of Cinema today. Coming soon this winter.
Besides that, with no further ado, let's just get right into it. We came to talk about episode 4. Let's focus on episode 4. Oh, this will be spoiler filled. I'm gonna let you guys know this is not gonna be a spoiler free discuss. We're gonna discuss the episode. We're gonna give details. If you haven't seen it, save us, bookmark it, come back to it so we don't ruin anything for you. There's your pre-warning. So to start the episode, we had let's call it the examination scene at the beginning of it. So right off the bat, George, do you want to give us a little overview of what that first scene looked like?
we're getting back with Wendy, right? We're talking about the Wendy waking up moment. Pretty much she's just been rebooted per se, and not everything is back on. Her sound is off, and she's a little not with all of her wits. But everyone's kind of discussing what's going on, which is pretty much her ability to communicate, or at least hear what is the alien sounds, which has kind of given us this impression of aliens maybe having a language or an ability of communications, which is, I would say, a first in alien lore. You know, like we've seen them kind of talk or whatever, but this is like communicating like a thought, a process of pain and anguish. So this was something very interesting, I'd say, that the episode started off with to have for the alien lore.
And I agree with you there. I mean, we've seen hints of communication in the past. Just with like Romulus, we saw hints of communication.
Yeah, a
Uh,
resurrection.
yeah,
Resurrection's
resurrection when
huge.
they,
Yeah.
especially when they communicated, when they were like captured and came up with the plan
hmm
basically to escape. So we've seen that. Sometimes a lot of people are like, "Oh, it might be a hive mentality," but this kind of moves away from the hive aspect, and it's just them actually communicating. And they touched on this a little bit in the previous episode. So it seems, they're not out there just like straight up talking up a storm or anything like that. They communicate through basically like vibrations that are at
Yeah.
a very extremely high frequency that we can't hear, kind of how certain bugs do, or like a dog whistle in a, in a way, and they communicate out there. Now, we see them, they're not exactly, with like bugs, they'll do like their wings, like their wing flap or their legs, like sapping against, and that's how they do those vibration sounds, or like elephants use their feet, their stumps or whatever
Yeah.
to do their type of long distance communication. We don't really see that with the xenomorph, so we don't know if it's maybe their internal mouth like doing the vibration sound or whatever it is, but we seems like we have some kind of communication, and it that scene showed us that she was communicating with the embryo that we saw in the previous episode was removed from the face huggers. Marie, what was your thoughts on this scene and this aspect of the communication, her being able to not only hear it, but being able to replicate it?
So at first, I thought it was interesting that she could understand, well, not understand, but I think they could have used it in a really interesting angle. I said our last episode that since she was feeling like basically sort of the pain that the face hugger was going through, she could tell it was screaming and everything and that it was hurting her. I was like, well, maybe she's going to start sympathizing with the xenomorphs. That's what's happening now. And when she started doing like, oh, I'm going to talk like them, and just knew how to talk like them right away. I know she's a machine, whatever, it's fine. But I was like, wouldn't she have to have the programming? Wouldn't she have to understand their language? Wouldn't she have to? So I had a bunch of questions, but I thought this could be cool if they made it how she could communicate. I still don't like the fact that she can communicate with them. Maybe like hear them and understand, but I think way they go about it is a little bit, I don't know, it was a little too, maybe too heavy on the cheese for me. The way she's just like was like macking me type thing, and it was just like she's communicating. But anyway, I thought could be cool because maybe she can trap them, maybe she can somehow lure them somewhere, maybe she can mimic other xenomorphs and you know somehow use it to their advantage to capture or kill the xenomorphs or the facehuggers or anything like that. But I don't like the angle that they're going with it and her being able to communicate with it. So I think it could have, again, a lot of the show, I think it could be, you had these interesting ideas, but they're going in this direction where it's like, why are you doing this? So I really do not like the direction that they're going with so far, with the fact that she can communicate with it. And I don't know if you want me to get into that yet or not, but I can
Well,
after.
yeah, I'm sure we can, especially towards the end when we get to the later
Hmm.
scenes, we can kind of touch on that a little bit more.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I see. I saw that first scene a little bit different. I didn't see her as understanding the language and actually speaking the language. I saw it more as her just replicating the
Yeah.
sound, kind of like a recorder
Hmm.
does. She already has that recorded in her system and she's just replaying it back without really
Hmm.
knowing what she's saying at this point. And we know Boy Cavalier, his goal is to push her to actually understand it, which we
Yeah,
will
yeah.
get to that like later on.
Yeah.
So at this point, I don't think she's understanding it or anything. She's just literally repeating.
Replicating.
Exactly,
Okay.
just repeating the sound over again.
My only technical issue with it was the fact that she's replicating the sound and they could hear it. If she was truly replicating the sound, they couldn't hear it because, like we
Mm.
established, it is at a frequency that they can't hear. So that part was nonsensical to
Hmm.
me, you know. But that being said, I get why they did it, you know, because like if she did replicate it and they couldn't hear it, then it's just like they're reacting to
It'd be
nothing.
weird. She's just there like,
Yeah, making her face. So like, yeah. And granted, the scientist guy could show like, oh, I can see the frequency popping up, you know, like she's hitting that
Yeah,
sound, you
yeah,
know?
but it
Or
wouldn't.
like maybe like the alien is reacting. Like maybe we could see a scene where the lung is moving around more because she's making the sound. It's responding to her,
Mm.
you know. I feel like something like that would have been better. But like I said, I get it. I understand. Like
yeah.
there's certain things that you do for filmmaking that you have to just
You
bend
probably
logic a
you
little
probably
bit.
will have you probably will have people being like, well, I didn't hear it, so it must not. She wasn't
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
it.
You have another side of it where it's another argument. So it's like it's that's a forgivable thing, in my opinion. But I did like some of the dialogue here for a change, like especially Kid Cavalier's Boy Cavalier's kind of interaction with the other girl, and I was just like, all right, like you can speak French, but can you do that? Like that's freaking special. That's why she's my favorite. And it's like, oh, I kind of like that he's kind of like digging into her, and that's just like that's gonna force her to like maybe do something questionable later on. Like she was already at a place where we might think she might do something wrong, but like with that kind of dig, it's just like, oh, sibling rivalry kind of shit. You're just pushing on. So like I kind of liked a little bit of that. Plus, I liked seeing more of the scientists and like how thoroughly they care about these kids. Like they see them as human and as people still, and as people that should be nurtured and taken care of, not as just playthings.
And I do have a thought on that aspect, which I don't want to touch on yet. But a couple of things from that scene. I do like, and this was throughout the episode, but in this scene, uh we're finally seeing a elevation of Boy Cavalier. His assholeness
Yeah,
came out a lot more, his coldness came out a lot more throughout this episode. He seemed less bland and more towards, I remember previously you were mentioning you wanted him to kind of lean more towards the neurotic aspects
yeah,
of the genius, and I think we saw that a little bit more in this episode.
most definitely, yes.
But one thing, I don't know if you guys noticed this, I feel like they did it on purpose just by the character's reaction, and it seemed like very childish. But Curly, during that scene, she was over there by that wall, literally just pressing buttons but looking back the whole time, like
Yeah.
pretending she's doing something though, like a little kid would do, like trying to like blend in, like, yeah, I'm just doing stuff over here, and she just kept looking back.
Well, because that's what he
So
said. He's like, go
That's what he
press
told her to
button.
do.
He's like, go
Yeah.
press buttons and look like you're busy. So she's like, all
Yeah.
right.
uh, I thought that was good because she has seemed like the most mature out
Yeah.
of all of the hybrids. But then they're showing a little bit like, no, no, she's not fully matured yet. She's still like a child in mind, even though her ambition seems more mature. Speaking of the hybrids, going into one of the next scenes that we had was the communication between Morrow, the cyborg, and Slightly, where we're seeing a little bit more. Well, Marie, we'll let you describe like the scene of the interaction,
Oh,
because I know
no.
that's one of the things you mentioned on the when we did the last episode, is this direction that Morrow is taking when it comes to Slightly.
It seems like Slightly's escaping now so that he can have these interactions with Morrow. Like he'll not escaping, but he'll go off on his own and they're having these little private conversations now. And then Morrow is trying to intimidate him, manipulate him, and convince him to find the host for the face hugger, the chest burster. Sorry. So I really, I'm sometimes I forget while watching the show. I'm like, oh yeah, these are supposed to be children. But when I see Morrow and his interaction with Slightly, I think it's such a good contrast between adults and children. And I'm like, oh yeah, he's really knows how to manipulate a child's mind. And just I like some of the wording he would use and how he knew his what the last name Singh means. And I love how he was like pretending like he's gonna sing, like, what's your what name or whatever his first
Yeah.
name was. And he's like, oh no, and with an H. And I'm like, whoa, that was that was maybe my favorite part of the whole episode, because I'm like, that was such a good little manipulation tactic to be like, I actually don't understand. Can you help me? And trying to seem fun and playful and everything like that. And then that will earn a child's trust. So that maybe was my favorite part of the episode, just because I was like, that was real. Like that was like a real good manipulation tactic. So that's
Yeah,
what he's trying to do in that scene, right? Is that scene where he's getting
yeah,
him to
yeah.
the
Yeah.
find the chest. Okay.
First to, yeah, to
We'll
go
find
get
the
the
egg
egg.
first. Yeah.
Yeah.
First the egg
Yeah.
first, like during that scene. I think
Yeah.
you brought up a
Yeah.
good
Bring
point.
someone. Yeah.
The way he was phrasing things, like using like hero, or like
Yeah.
trying to simplify the logic with the kid, was like, is it really stealing if it was mine in the first place? You're just giving it back to me. Like trying to
Like,
simplify the reasoning
yeah.
and twist it for the kids. That's
Hmm.
a
Bending
very
morals and questioning morals and
Yeah.
everything like that, and questioning themselves because kids don't know. So they are in that prime state where it's like they're constantly questioning everything, and then they'll go, well, this adult said this and this one said this, but you're saying this, and who do I trust? And yeah, that was probably my favorite part of the whole episode.
Yeah, definitely. It's almost uncomfortable, that scene, because
Oh
even though
yeah.
you're
Yeah,
looking at
very.
them and they're adults, so heavily manipulating him the entire time and playing into those childlike like tendencies. And when that doesn't work, he fails to secure the egg because he sucks at being a spy. I'll tell you that much. He is not very good at lying or
Uh,
pretending or acting or anything like that. You see the switch in tactic with Morrow, where all of a sudden now it's
Hmm.
like, okay, the carrot didn't work. Here's the stick,
Hmm.
and gets a little more aggressive with him, with the information that he extracted from him by using those methods that you were talking about, Marie, and just kind of smooth talking with him and all of that stuff. George, what were your thoughts on that interaction and how it like switched up?
I think this has been the best. Like that scene was the best we've seen of both those characters, honestly.
Hmm.
Because I said earlier, like there, especially for the child hybrids, like there's been this mixed match of sporadicness of like how they act in certain situations. Sometimes they're more childish than others, and it's like they haven't really locked in on their personalities that well. I felt like this one, this conversation, I really felt that slightly was a child. Like the actor did a really good job of portraying with his face and how he's taking in the information and how he's trying to like connect with this guy because he doesn't really have any friends outside of this complex. So he's, gaining some kind of trust from someone new. And there's that whole thing. Like I felt he was a child, and then Morrow, where's every other interaction we've seen with him, he's very cold and not much movement comes from his personality. But in this, like we see him being jovial with him, and like we see this other person. Like I can kind of believe that maybe he did have a kid at one time, and maybe he did have a
Yeah.
family, and there's the essence of that kind of seeping through, and he's just utilizing that wherewithal of what he had as a tool now to get what he wants from this kid. And so just all of that layered together, I thought was really well done. I gotta give, props to that, honestly. I'm actually very intrigued with where all that's going. I think that that is a better half of the series right now, is their interaction. And also it's the fact that there's like a second to third layer of it, someone watching them and monitoring it, the conversation. And the fact that that's just being done in the background and then that nothing's being said about it. No, like I'm very curious of like how that's going to play out now. Like, is
Hmm.
is he gonna get to succeed in his mission because this other party wants to see how it plays out? It's like I really like all of that. I thought it was
Yeah.
really good.
And that was the next thing I was bringing up to you guys. So we have here Kirsch is not fooled. He knows about the implant. He figured it out. He's since these hybrids are 100% monitored, what they see, what they hear, what they all that. He's literally keeping tabs, hearing the entire conversation the whole time. But Kirsch is not telling anyone. He's
Yeah.
not telling the boy Wonder and anyone else like
Hmm.
what is happening. He's just kind of chilling and observing. And we see that throughout this episode. He's just kind of like, let's see what happens, which is curious with it. But then if we like the way I was looking at it, if we think back on other AI or synthetic behaviors in past like projects and all of that stuff, they play a lot of like chess. They don't always, put their best move like forward. They do a lot of observing. They have their overall protocol or directions, but they tend to kind of not let that be known, and they don't always act the way you think they're going to act. And we've seen that. So it's like I'm curious, what is Kirsch's ultimate like motivation and why he isn't like talking? Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
They've established like he's definitely more research oriented, like the fact that he's doing the tests on the aliens. So like we know his protocol is intelligence. His job is to know statistics, numbers, and to obtain all that information. So I'm not surprised that he's the one, observing all this and that he's in charge of that. And I'm not surprised he's not telling anyone yet because he's still gathering information. So like I think it definitely fits his character 100%. Like besides just being a synthetic, it's just like that's who he's supposed to be. How they have portray him doing it, it makes me think of almost like David. from the
Yeah.
Prometheus and Covenant, in the best ways,
Mm.
because that character was a great character. Despite however bad those movies were, that character is really good, and the idea of him was good. And I like seeing another character that's kind of emulating those moves that he's doing.
Well, it does make sense that he would just be kind of waiting and observing, and because like they're all pretty much like prototypes at this point. And they're testing to see like how like this episode there was a lot of like, how are they human? Are they that person? Are they this? Like, are they going to make choices based on their loyalty to the company, to the people who have been looking after them for this long a time? They're all a big test. So everything's like under a microscope right now. So you also want to know how far they're going to go before you do anything drastic, or if there's even a possibility if they're going to go far, like are they actually going to like betray what they're being told by like Prodigy and stuff, or and they're just going to like, because if they're just going to listen to this random man they just met, then that's a pretty shitty prototype. They're like, okay, no, we have to work on something else. They can't have this much of their human brain intact. We have to alter stuff. We have to. So the hybrids aren't going to make it because they're still too human with their brain. Like we know they're not going to make it. And it's because they're going to be too good and real still. They're not going to take commands like they want them to. And that's what I think my favorite part about this episode was, is you're really seeing the hybrids break and be like, wait a second, none of this makes sense. Like we deserve this stuff too. I want to see this person and everything. So to me, that's like the most interesting part of this episode and like the show so far, is that aspect. And it's more prevalent in this episode so far than any other one.
And it is interesting because we have different sides to this aspect and kind of like a push and pull. You have
Yeah.
like the scientists who they're hoping for more human-like from the hybrids, and they want them to lean more towards the human side. But then you have Kirsch, who is just like, why? What's the point? And he wants them leaning more towards the AI aspect of things. We see him test slightly in this when he gives them kind of like the riddle and stuff. Basically, it seems like trying to assess like, are you leaning more towards the human thought process of it, of protecting, and regardless of what the decision is and all of that, or more towards the AI being more calculated and things like that. And I'm not sure he was too happy with Slightly's answer, which is leaning more towards the human. And it could be trying to assess like, all right, is he going to sabotage all of this for the sake of protecting his family, which he views it's not really his family, because he doesn't view the hybrids as human. He views them like himself, like an AI. Like that, it could be that, just to sit back and see which side is going to win or dominate. But Marie brings up a good point, and we can kind of skip a scene to touch on what Marie brought up. It's just the behavior and what we're seeing from the hybrids in this episode, because I feel we're starting to see some of the cracks when it comes to like the hybrids, and all different ways, all different things
Big
driving them.
ways. Yeah.
Yeah. So with like Curly, we didn't see it as much, just more facial reaction, but like, how is her ambition gonna lead her to possibly rebel? We see from Wendy, where when she catches Boy Cavalier in kind of a lie, you see her react. So there's the possibility, like, for the love, or what she believes is love, of her brother, can she rebel, or even for the sympathizing with the xenomorphs, will that cause her to rebel? Then we have Slightly now, who could possibly rebel for the protection of his family that isn't really his family. And then we have, in going into the scene, the therapy scene, we have what's her name, Nibs?
That was
Nebs?
nice. Nibs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nibs in there, who's full on. We're seeing the breakdown go even like deeper in there, to the point where she believes she's pregnant, even though it is physically like impossible for her to be, but she believes it. And we're starting to see she's the first one to really exhibit that aggression towards one of the workers, or someone from Prodigy. So we're seeing them each kind of lean towards the rebellious stage, but for different reasons on that. So what was your guys' thoughts? We'll start with you, George, on that therapy scene and how that was handled.
I've been waiting for a moment where we'd actually see them show something that was superhuman per se. You know, what I mean, like we remember episode 1, we got to see Wendy do that little jump and run thing. We hadn't really seen anything since. And now having her just like snap and like the way she jumped right at Dame and was just like, oh, like it kind of brought upon like that horror element again. Honestly, you know, like it made me think of things like Splice almost,
Yeah.
or even Ex Machina, like something like that. Like just the
Okay,
idea
it's
of like
Machina,
you know,
yeah.
is that's probably better? That's
Yeah.
you have these AI bots, you know, they're obviously more powerful than us. And that moment when they realize that they are stronger, you know, having that flip, that switch, and seeing the terror in Dame's face of like, oh shit. It's almost like, what have we done? Like we've given them too much, you know, because they're children. To be a child and have that much power,
Yeah.
but having that whole moment play out, like I've been waiting for this moment, something like this to happen. And I love that this shows like how do you control this thing now? This child, because children are going to have temper tantrums. So the fact that now we're seeing a temper tantrum come out, and with this thing that has so much power, what do they do? What are they going to do? Like, what is? I want to see what the protocol is because now they're going to have her locked down. But it's like, is that enough? Have they tested this? You know, to see if like can they actually hold back this strong being that they've created now? And what if they all start to have these tantrums together? What if seeing her get locked up and like, oh, why are we locking her up? What's going on? Because no one else is around when that happens. It's very
Mhm.
secluded, you know. But like you said, we're seeing cracks, we're seeing breaks. That moment when Slightly sees that she has her brother, when Wendy has her brother, yet his family's in danger, and having that break with there's a divide between all of them. Where some of them are like, well, I don't want to leave. I don't want to like betray this. And someone's like, well, I want my family. And it's like, will they go to Boy Cavalier and try to strong arm him, you know, because they can. You know, what's he going to do about it? Like, I haven't seen a failsafe button yet that just turns them off. And there could be, you know, but I think
Mhm.
this now creates a new threat besides the creatures and the xenomorphs. Like now there's a whole bunch of threats to all of the humans that are there.
Yeah. I will say this, if there isn't a fail-safe button, I would see that as an error
Oh yeah,
by
yeah.
the
Yeah,
writers
that's
on that.
so
Because
sad.
there's no way Boy Cavalier, if stays true to what's been portrayed to us, he does not have a way to instantly shut down his hybrids, especially if they are prototypes.
Yeah.
What about you, Marie? How did you see this scene and how it played out?
Well, you're seeing her having these like mental struggles for the last couple episodes and staring at herself in the mirror and poking her eye and just like realizing my God, like I'm not human. And it's now she's like in that denial space where she's like, no, I'm pregnant. Like, what's the most human thing that a woman can do? And it's have a baby. And for me, I'm looking at it as a very emotional space where I'm like, oh my God, could you imagine having this done to you to save your life, but you can't even do the thing that you want to do in your life, or you can't produce life, or you can't create life if you want to. And it's like, well, then how is it living if you can't? Like if you're technically, except your brain, you're not alive. Like your body's not alive. And I think she's just having this major identity crisis denial thing where she's just like, no, yeah, she's broken. She's broke. Her brain is broken. There's like a PTSD thing going on. And I found that scene like pretty upsetting. I thought it was pretty sad because it's like one thing that you want to do with your life you'll never be able to do. And like I'd be angry at the people who did that to me.
Yeah. And it is
So,
interesting. She has seemed the one who leans more towards the human side out of all the hybrids this entire time. And even like to this point with the breakdown and the way she's handling all of this. If there was to be a meter of AI and human, her arrows definitely pointed
mhm.
more towards the human end of things. What I found interesting in this scene is
Yeah.
Dame,
Yeah.
her reaction at the end. So she's been very motherly, and we talked about this
Yeah.
before because it was a big point on the way she is in this compared to other projects where she wasn't very motherly.
And even Boy Cavalier points it out too to her. Like he still
Mm.
says
Yeah,
it's like you're not their mother.
Hmm.
But I found it weird, and it might not be anything. I might have just been looking too much into it. At the end of that scene, once they, when she called like the security, gave the code, and they took her away, like her demeanor seemed to change, and she didn't seem as motherly anymore. When that happened, and she was like, "Yeah, we have a code, whatever, blah 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 blah." All of a sudden she didn't seem like she was reacting to her as if like this is one of her kids. She reacted there more. There was like a shift of like, oh, this product's going bad. I don't know if they're gonna play more into it. Like maybe this is a facade that she's kind of putting in, but like even it's her husband that's been consistent with like the sympathy, even in this episode, where he's just like, where are we morally when it comes to this? While she seems more like in, and I just wonder if we saw the veil slip a little bit on how maybe she might be playing a motherly act with them. So I mean, I don't know. I might be looking too much into it. I don't know if you guys noticed that.
I mean, I did, but I took it more of just like it's the reaction to the situation of just like because she knows it's still a test. She knows it's still a prototype, and it's just like that was a big threat. She could have died in that moment. So when your
Hmm.
life is on the line and the entity that is there is not actually her child, she's motherly because they're children, but like this was a life-threatening moment. I could see her just becoming like more professional and like critical with the situation, you know? And I think the scene before that, when she was with her husband, they were still being like nurturing with their thoughts towards the kids. It's just she's trying to be more pragmatic at this situation.
I just looked at that scene because like they aren't her kids, and like she knows like deep down it's like you're not gonna you can be motherly to something, but you're not, if it's not your kid, you're not gonna, it's a machine. It's not even like this is something she adopted from a baby and she raised. No, 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 this is different. This is like she was there for the creation. She knows it's not all human. I look at it kind of like you can adopt a full grown dog and be like, I love this dog, and I'm going to make you trust me, and I know maybe like you had a hard time, and you can, that dog can be great and you could be great with it and you're trying to help it out. But if that dog lunges at you and snaps at you, I'd be like, oh shit, maybe we should get this dog away from me right now. Take it away. Someone come take it. Like, I don't trust this dog right now. So I
Mhm.
just like, that's how I viewed it. So that veil is always capable of slipping 100%. It's just like preservation, especially when you know the strength that they have in the back of your mind, like you know how powerful they are. I'm not gonna try to be like, well, what'd you do that and what'd you blah? Like I'd be like, okay, give her space, take her away, maybe take her away from her now, because if I push her, she's gonna snap me in half. Like I think it's just she's using that's her humanity coming out and like protecting yourself.
Yeah, and then that could be true. I'm curious to see because unless I missed it, I don't think we didn't touch this on this episode. Like, what is she going to do with the information she just gained of that
Mm.
aggressive behavior? Is she going to report it to Boy Cavalier? Is she going to just maybe tell her husband, like, hey, we got to monitor this? Like, how does she respond to that? Because again, is she going to be protective and be like, all right, let's try to help her. Let's not let Boy Cavalier know just in case he wants to shut her down or anything like that. We didn't see what does she do after this moment. Maybe in the
Yeah.
next episode or the episode after that, see how exactly she reacts with that new information that she has.
I'm
I'd say
shocked that
that
that room wouldn't be monitored with
that's what I was gonna
cameras.
say.
Like, is
Yeah,
it?
every room
Yeah.
is they've already shown that every room is monitored, and that they have cameras inside of the hybrid, so it's already
Oh yeah, and
been
they
yeah,
it's actually an hybrid. Yeah.
it's been documented already. Like Kershaw has it already also filmed somewhere, so like
Yeah.
they
Well,
know. It's just
Kirsch
a
does,
matter.
but with Boy Cavalier, it's a matter of like, is he looking at every feed of every moment, or when someone tells him like, you need to take a look at this, you need to take a look at that.
Yeah, it's a
So
matter of when exactly.
yeah.
When are they analyzing it for sure? But I think she's definitely going to tell her husband, and everything like
Mm,
because I was just like they also brought up the fact that even they are not 100% sure with what they're dealing with because they propose things
mm-mm.
like, are they just AI with memories or did we just kill a bunch of children? Like that line, I was like, oh wow,
That
like they don't even know what
Yeah.
these things
yeah,
are. Like so now it's
that
that
line was
really
huge.
heavily like the questions that I had from before, It's like, damn, I may have been onto something. Like maybe they are just memories. Maybe they aren't like 100% transferred over. It's just data. That's all it is. And it's data that's hopefully gonna stay, the course, as opposed to like what Kirsch wants, which is like, no, you're a machine, be a machine, do machine things, think with almost like Spock, think with logic, not with emotion.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and and these are basically, you can look at them just like with any AI as a learning model.
Yeah.
So while they were implanted, let's say if it was like the data, the memory and everything from the human, if it's just like the data, over time, that learning model is going to become stronger and it's going to talk, and it might take this personality or data in a completely different direction that they would have as a human because it's set to learn quickly and to adapt quickly. At least that's the way it seems like they were created. So at what point is it no longer that person anymore?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Especially when you see characters like Curly and Isaac now, who are very driven towards learning and like evolving. All that information is going to push them to a new person.
Another scene, and then this we kind of skipped over this one. But this is the scene where they are now they're doing an observation on one of the other aliens. It was the little itopus. I'm gonna call it an itopus.
Octopus. Yeah.
Yeah, the itopus creature. It's kind of testing like how it works, monitoring, and basically they put it in this glass container with a sheep, poor sheep, to test it out, and we witness it very aggressively attack the sheep, rip out his eye and replace his eye, and then take over the sheep itself while they're monitoring the brain waves, and they can see on the screen that it's reshaping basically all like the nerves and the thought process and everything, and using the brain that it took over as like a battery to enhance itself. And there's the signals of high intelligence being observed there. I thought it was a cool scene, and I like that we're seeing a little bit more of like what these, well, at least what one of them is actually doing. Marie, we'll start with you on this one because I know the first time we were introduced to this species, you hated that scene. How did you
Yeah.
feel about this scene with the octopus?
I didn't care for that scene. I don't like overly CG things ever in anything, especially gore, because I'm like, if it's not real practical effects, it doesn't count to me. Like I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like I'm like, oh, cool, a bunch of people on a computer made blood. Like it, I don't know. I don't like CG gore, CG scenes. It doesn't feel real, doesn't feel organic, doesn't feel authentic. And the sheep stood up. I kind of laughed out loud. I don't know. I didn't like any of that. I don't like it. I don't really care about this eye thing, but I will say that the eye alien can lead to an important question because it's like if the eye alien can come into you and it can become you and control you, then what's the difference between that? Why is that scary, but being a hybrid or being a cyborg isn't? Because it's almost like the same type of thing, but why is the alien bad when essentially you're getting into the head of another living thing and controlling it, which is what the eye alien is doing. So the eye alien kind of mirrors what Prodigy does for like hybrids and cyborgs and in the synthetics. It's like then it's basically an organic version of that or a scary alien version of that. But the scene itself, I didn't care for it. But and I think again, there's an idea that is behind the eye alien that is interesting, and maybe they're gonna get there, and and it's kind of like a metaphor between what they're doing. But I just didn't like the look of any of it. No.
Hmm. No, that is a good point where it kind of replicates something similar. I guess the main difference would be is unlike the hybrid or the synthetic, where basically whether it's the AI or the personality of the kids is being put into an empty shell, this eye is literally destroying what's already there and replacing it. It's not an empty shell. I guess that would be like the main bad thing of it. The sheep
Yeah.
no longer exists. There was a sheep there.
But then they kind of essentially had to get rid of the shell of the children to take the mind to put it into something else. So I think it's like kind of the opposite of what they're doing, but two different things of the same whole in a way.
There's
It's
similarities
like
for
this
sure, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, this has a fake body, but the real brain, and it's like this has a real body, but it's being controlled by something that's not part of that body.
Hmm.
So it's very similar, mirroring that, but one of them's okay, but the other one's not okay. I mean, they did kill children to make the hybrids, and this killed the sheep. How do we know? Maybe there is part of the sheep's brain and memory still in there. Then what's kind of the difference? I don't know.
That is true. I mean, that makes it
Yeah.
scarier. The sheep is there.
Yeah.
There, it's kind of like, the that fungus that we have in real life, the one that the Last of Us, the cordyceps that the
Yeah.
Last of Us is
Hmm.
based off of, is those ants, those like creatures that this affects. They're still conscious of what is
Hmm.
happening. They just have no control over their own body, which makes it even scarier if the
Yeah.
sheep is in there in the head, like, "Ah, help."
Your body's
Like,
just a prison,
like,
yeah.
yeah, that
Yeah.
makes it even
Ugh.
creepy. Marie just opened a whole other creepy door here to the creature. George, what were your thoughts on that scene?
I'm a little more mixed on it because the obviously I'm more a practical effects person myself, but the CG in this isn't bad considering what it's for. I think if this was in a theatrical movie kind of thing, I'd be a little more critical about it. But since it's for
Hmm.
a streaming series, it actually wasn't bad for what it was. I would have loved if it was real, but hey, I get why it wasn't. I like though the interaction of what's happening though, because this whole episode is about power and who is in control of this power. And Boy Cavalier is constantly having moments where he is having to show like I'm in control. This is mine. And we're seeing like the creature is so focused on Kirsch, and then Boy's
Hmm.
watching this, and what does he do? He throws the ball at the freaking glass, and the thing focuses on him, and he's just like, me. It's like I'm the boss here, all right? I'm the captain. And having to have that control at all times. We're getting to really see his character now. Like you said, it's like this is the stuff I'm waiting for, and
Hmm.
I'm liking
Hmm.
these little things. Like you talked about it's like little things can make a big thing happen. And I feel like these little things are now giving him big character moments.
Hmm.
And like showing who he is, and especially like later on, like certain things are said where it's just like, what have you done? What like I'm now like I'm figuring everything out about this guy. So I like this scene. I thought the scene was really good for developing him, developing Isaac to have control of himself also. Like seeing each hybrid trying to take control of who they are and trying to find who they are past this hybrid thing, to gain control over their autonomy. All that has been really good. And in the scene, Kirsch is constantly a scientist. He's constantly just observing and questioning and I like how he questions everybody. I like how he gives them a problem and then sees how they try to figure it out. And then he never establishes if what they said is the right answer. He lets
Hmm.
them figure
Hmm.
that out. But like, he always keeps like this very base level of like, okay, and I'm saying okay in a positive way,
Yeah.
but who knows? I could be
Noted.
negative. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Noted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
When that happened too, I was like, "Ooh, okay, that's interesting," because you saw a level of insecurity with Boy Cavalier when they came to that, because you know especially when they declare that this creature is highly intelligent. And what's his goal that he's been saying? He wants to communicate, he wants to have a conversation with something or someone that's more intelligent than him because he holds himself as such high regard. The fact that this thing is ignoring him, is just looking at Kirsch. And we see multiple times where he seems to kind of try to exert his dominance on Kirsch, kind of talk down to him, which again brings us back to like Kirsch not telling him what's happening with Morrow and stuff, where part of me starts to wonder, like, is it because he's looking at it as a scientist, or is this a play? Because you have this human who's acting superior to him, but does he have that David mindset where he believes he is the evolution of human. He is better than human. And it's maybe is he keeping that quiet to let things play out so he can make some kind of power move? Because even though he falls in line, he looks at Boy Cavalier and he's just like, you're a human. You will never match up to my capabilities and my potential at all. So those little moments like that, it kind of makes me wonder, like, Kirsch had to have seen that. He's very observant. What is he doing with this information? What is he planning? We know the synthetics are always sneaky in some way or not. Um, but I like the way the scene played out. I felt it kind of it added an unnervingness to it with the sheep just like staring, no sound the entire time, just uber focused. Like Kirsch, it seemed like just taking information in, observing, like, okay, what are you? Who are you? What is your status? Just kind of like game planning. This thing is that smart and probably at this point knows the brain power of the sheep isn't strong enough for whatever it is that it wants to do. It could be kind of doing recon and just surveying the land, like what is going to be, where can I thrive? What head can I thrive? And I think this creature, I know you don't like him, Marie, but I think it opens up things of possibility. Like what happens if this creature tries to go into a hybrid or a synthetic? Will that still work? Will it have that computing power with those? What if this thing tries to attach to a xenomorph? Like what happens there if it tries to do that? Can it even do it? Will the acid blood destroy it? Like these little things I want to see at least the attempt from this little creature. Like
Question if Boy Cavalier, because since you brought it up, I thought this when I watched the episode. Would Boy Cavalier attempt to put that eye into a human so he can talk to it?
I wouldn't put it past them.
No, I think that's a very high possibility.
I
Yeah.
mean, he took Hermit's lung without asking him,
Yeah.
and then didn't even hide it. Just like, yeah, yeah, we took the lung, we gave you a new one, you know, because he looks at everyone, not just the hybrids. I think just his workers. He looks at everyone as his property.
Yep.
Like you sign up to work for Prodigy, he owns every aspect of you. That's the attitude that he says, and he has that line in there. I forget what the exact thing is, but he's just kind of like, need to remind them that this is my world. Like
Yeah.
this is all mine. So he has that. So like I would not be surprised if it's just like, well, I own you, so I'm going to have this creature take your body without like even asking permission. I guess we can jump to that final scene that we have where we have Wendy, starting. I'm sure she's now starting to pick up more patterns of the communication, and it seems like now she's able to not just replicate, but at least back and forth to a certain amount, or at least enough to get the attention of it. And then, she goes to go visit the lung, and we see the chest buster literally bust. They need stronger glass, by the way. Literally bust right through the glass. This here, it looked a little weird to me when this happened. Like, I know they were going for the whole like Cobra effect, where you see the chest buster kind of coiled up, and it seems like they were, the whole play the flute and like have it
Snake
dance.
charmer.
This snake charmer
Yeah.
aspect of
Yeah.
it, I wasn't sure if I was a fan of that aspect. And then we saw the chest buster just kind of become more docile as she was like kind of communicating with it, whether she actually knew what she was saying or she's just replicating the sounds. It seemed to become docile while Kirsch creepily observed in the shadows, not doing anything. I hope they're not going where I think they're going, but
Mhm.
it seems like they may be going where there's going to be that connection between her and at least this xenomorph. However, that plays out, whether she's protective of it or she uses, like Marie mentioned, that connection to lure it and save everyone. So she can use it for that, or she can use this to turn on the company in service of protecting it. I know other people have mentioned that it's like she became the queen for it, but we'll see. I'm curious where they go with it. I'm not liking the connection aspect so far, but I'm wanting to see it play out.
I had something a little different of a thought of that. I
Mm,
didn't think queen status. I thought goddess status. So this is something that's been introduced kind of recently in the comic books when Marvel took back Aliens, and there's a goddess character that generally enters like the dreams of people I think who have been impregnated with
yeah.
the chest bursters. And so it's an entity that kind of like controls the aliens, like the xenomorphs, but also communicates with like its host and stuff like that. And I feel like she emulated more of that thing than she did a queen,
Mm.
honestly, in this moment. And because she's that character kind of was derived from a little bit of the xenomorph black goop crap or everything, but also I think also it may have been part synthetic or cyborg itself. So there's it plays on some of that stuff there in the comic books. So I feel like it's kind of going down that
So
path.
there's source material it could be connecting to.
Yeah, but very loosely, and
Okay.
I felt a little bit of that. My concern is that it could go like a Jurassic World kind of direction where this specific xenomorph is kind of like Blue, the raptor that Chris Pratt kind of controlled.
Please no. Please no.
That's my concern because it wouldn't be unheard of in the comic books, like even the Dark Horse comic books. Some xenomorphs were kind of used like that. I think they had like a king xenomorph and they kind of used it to fight off a bunch of other lower level like drones and stuff like that and knights. So I could see it even being like that kind of route. I wouldn't hate it because I've seen it and enjoyed it if it's done well. But yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting scene that can go in many directions. It didn't look great though. It felt weird. Like you said, like this whole
Yeah.
snake charmer thing. I was like, I don't know about this. I get what they're doing, but I don't know. It doesn't seem that cool. You know. But I think it depends where it goes. Where it goes can elevate or take it down. So yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to see a team up. That was one of the things I disliked the most about Alien versus Predator is when you had like the
Yeah.
Predator teaming up with the human and all of that stuff. I'm like, I don't want a Predator human rom-com. I don't want a, xenomorph human rom-com like
Yeah.
happening here.
Well,
Or
I prefer a predator human thing because again,
Yes.
comic books did it well with Marika, I think her name was, where the one human who was able to like join the predator race and everything. So like it could be done well, it could be done right. It's just that movie didn't handle it right. That was the problem,
yeah.
you know. But I
Mm.
definitely don't want to see freaking aliens and humanoid esque characters pairing together. No, I don't want
Yeah. See, I
that.
didn't know that aspect of the kind, but it's like when I think xenomorph, I don't think controlled being or stuff like that. Like I don't know. I just like I see them just as their own like isolated murder machines with their own stuff, not taking command or working with some other species. At least that's not how I view the
Yeah.
xenomorph. So I
No,
don't
it
think I
has
would
to be
be a
them.
fan of that.
Yeah, it has to
Yeah.
be they control each other. Nothing
Yes.
outside, nothing outside of them. I mean, in the books they fight each other. Like they have separate different sects like that are separate from each other and they're always in conflict. So like that's what I want to see. I'm with you, Jose. I don't want to see freaking humanoid riding a freaking alien. But
No.
you
Exactly. Uh,
know?
Marie, I see you stirring back and forth. What were your thoughts on this scene? See, it's like you're getting
Well,
ready. You right
Yeah,
now,
right.
you were like that boxer outside the ring. They're just kind of going to the ring, your music's playing, and you're like, all right, here we go, here we go.
because guys, I love the fact that they're humanizing and sympathizing with the xenomorph. I love it. No, I hate it so much. Like I was when she first was like, I felt that it's their baby. It chose me, and she's sympathizing with it. I was like, remember how one just killed your brother and you fought one and you killed it, but it almost killed you? Like, do you remember? Why are you sympathizing with this creature that almost killed your brother? Like, she knows that's the baby of the xenomorph, right? Is that clear to her? Like,
I think
it's like
so.
you got,
Yeah.
yeah, like, like remember how one almost killed you and your brother, who you waited years and years and years to find? I think it's been years and years and years to find, right? How long has it been?
Oh
It's
yeah,
been a
no, it's
long
been
Yeah,
time.
years.
it's been some time,
You,
yeah.
it's been a long time since you're
Been a
really
long
wanting to find your
time.
brother. As
Should've
soon as
let-
you as soon as you find your brother, this alien almost kills him twice, and you're sympathizing with it instantly because you felt its pain and its screaming, and I hated it. Hated it. It didn't make any sense to me at all. The fact that she's being so caring towards this thing pisses me off. I don't want to sympathize with the xenomorph at all. I don't want to humanize them. I want them to stay terrifying and scary and badass. Sympathize, not sympathize. I want to root for a xenomorph, but I don't want to care about it in the way that they're portraying right now. The fact that she was so caring towards it after literally just almost being killed and her brother being killed by it, thought was didn't make any sense. And I actually wrote here, Jose, how do you feel about the xenomorph and us caring about it and the hybrids caring about it? Because I actually guilty pleasure like Alien versus Predator. I liked when the Predator was like, "Hey, I'm like this is like an honorable thing." I don't know because the Predator to me is like humanoid anyway, so it makes kind of like a little more sense. And I've never read any of the comics. I'm just going straight off movies here, but um, I like that part of Alien versus Predator, and I know you hate it. So when I saw this happen, I was like, "What's Jose?" Now I have it specifically written right here. That I needed to ask you because I think that it would be really cool if she used her powers or whatever she had. I know it's not powers, but if she used her ability against the xenomorph. Like if it showed her be like, yeah, we can get them, we can trap them, I can help you, I can be of purpose, I can help you guys. Not that I want to help the xenomorphs and the face huggers. No, I don't like that. I hate it. I don't want it to go in that direction. It looks like it's going in that direction, and I really am don't like it at all, one bit.
Yeah. Here's my thing. I don't have a problem per se of her sympathizing with the xenomorph, uh, just because from episode one we've
Yeah.
seen her kind of mulling these with the scorpion and everything, mulling these decisions when she was before she even became Wendy, while she was still in her, human form and human body. And with her still being a child and already still wrestling these type of things of uh small predator, like things that are dangerous, things like that, it fits that she might sympathize with it. I don't want the xenomorph sympathizing with her. I don't like the xenomorph being cool with her. That part.
Yeah,
One
that I didn't
way,
like that at the end.
yeah, one way that if it played out this way, I personally would love. I don't know if you guys would like, and because I think it would add a whole other level to the xenomorph, is if the xenomorph is actually manipulating her and using her to sympathize as a way of escape and getting out and doing all that in there. Not that it's trying to team up or I see you as mother or I see you as queen or I see you as God. Is I that intelligence of the xenomorph, which gets touched on here and there, but it's not on the forefront when people talk about the xenomorph. But they're not just destructive, they're highly intelligent. And this is a form of showing they're intelligent by like, oh, she can hear us. And then we did hear like the second in command guy is like, from my experience, if like something like that is communicating, wants to talk to you, it can't be a good sign. So like I wouldn't mind if this is a ploy, this is all part of the xenomorphs and all of them to kind of get her to help, not from a caring aspect or worship aspect or anything like that. If it plays out like that, I would love it because again, it's elevating the xenomorph in the way that it should.
Yeah, totally agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would like to see that too. I'd like to see that more maybe in like a movie form instead of like a series. Like I feel like it's something I want to see quickly, not like in 4 seasons or something. You know what I mean? Like I don't want there to be this like relationship build and then like the series finale finally you were like, oh, the xenomorph is like tricking her and blah blah blah. But that is a good idea, and I would like to see that. I would like to see it. But maybe I'd like to see it with a different character and not Wendy. Like if it was the girl who's like, I'm pregnant and she's the one sympathizing more with the
Mm.
xenomorph, maybe I'd like that more. Because you know how like you don't want it to be a complete copycat of Ripley and how Ripley always knew what the hell was going on. She was always in the right. She always knew the right thing to do, and she knew we gotta kill these things. Like, and she was the only one, and no one would listen to her. But now they're making like this every alien movie has their own like Ripley-esque girl. And right now, Wendy isn't being like the strong-headed one enough. She's the more emotional one and being like, oh, I sympathize, but I feel like maybe it would suit another character, like that girl who's kind of, I don't know. It's maybe it's just bugging me because it's Wendy sympathizing, it seems like. Like if she was able to communicate and she was having an argument with another character, which was like, oh no, it's a baby, it's crying, don't hurt it. Like, no, they're living things. Like, I'd be like, oh, this suits this character. And Wendy being like, no, listen, I can communicate with it. It's dangerous. We have this. It almost killed my brother. Like, I know it's weakness because I killed it. I can get it. I can do it again. Like, that would be maybe a different contrast that I would be like interested in, but right now I'm not liking where they're taking the character of Wendy, I guess.
I wonder if she's quicker to sympathize with it because she doesn't see it as a threat. The fact that she killed one, like I wonder if if that eliminated some of the threat for her. And then with the cries and all of that stuff, she kind of sees it like that scorpion.
That's how I've been seeing it,
I don't know.
honestly, is a bit like that. Like this has been foreshadowed for a while, so it doesn't really bother me that much.
Yeah.
I read that the thing that bothers me is the fact that like, and this bothered me in earlier episodes or the last episode when it showed that she could hear them, and they're like wondering, it's like, why can she hear them? And it's like, I think they had kind of established it's like, you guys cranked up her freaking listening capabilities. Can't you just do that to the rest of them? Like the fact that
Mhm.
they're kind of like egging the rest of them on that they can't do it. It's like because you haven't allowed them to, I think. Like when she was able to hear them is because they never got to finish like adjusting her ability to hear and to hear properly, and what frequencies and sounds. So I just feel like why haven't they just done that with all the other hybrids? Then they can have a whole bunch of them researching of
She's
like
the
you know what I
favorite.
mean? Yeah, but it's like they're not thinking like
Okay.
it's one of those moments where it's like you guys are so smart, but you're so dumb at the same time. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And that's like one of those like little gripes that I have where it's like, are you guys who are writing this, are you paying attention to what you're writing? Like, come on, guys. Read the words after you type. Yeah. Between that and there's
Uh,
another thing. Another thing kind of bothered me that I just added to a past episode. It was like, okay, I was right.
what?
Well, at one point in this episode, the brother mentions that he was in a war, or there was war. And so I was
There
like,
was
all
war,
right,
Jose! There
so I
was
was
war!
so I was like, all right, so they have faced conflict. Why are they so fucking stupid that when conflict comes to their face? They
But
were battle tested.
we don't know. This is corporate war.
He said, oh, come on, man.
Oh,
He's
he
a
just
medic. He's a
all he said
medic. His job is to bandage up people and for soldiers. So he was in a war. Let's not
he just said there
pretend
was
on that
war.
one.
There was a war.
Yeah, and
I
he
don't know.
was
It could
in
have
it.
been
And he was in that war. So that's why he couldn't see his sister. So it's like, all right, so like, come on. But now we know they were in a war, and these people were still just like didn't care that a freaking ship was coming at them. Like it added to me so much of like how much I really don't like that episode.
But that war is not the reason he couldn't see his sister. That's what Boy Cavalier told him. He told her
He
he
said, but he
tried to
said he
see
was in
her.
a
He
war
wasn't
though.
allowed. Yeah, no, he did.
Yeah, that's my
But
point.
the
Like, is
but
that
he whatever he was doing, he was still had the ability to attempt to see her. He just was denied.
Yeah,
And then Boy,
I'm not arguing any of that stuff. No,
yeah,
that stuff was my point is just the fact of the urgency. The fact that they were battle tested and they had zero urgency in that episode. You know what I mean? Because before we were all speculating. It's like, well, maybe they hadn't. Maybe they're a
yeah.
peace-driven place. It's like, well, they're not. They've had war, and it's like, and they still sucked. So it's like, why did they suck? Why did they? You know what I mean? So like that was something that's like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
If that was just left alone, we could have had that wonder of okay, maybe. But now there is no
Mhm.
maybe.
Yeah.
There's bad writing.
Mm. Well, now we're at the halfway point. This was the fourth episode. There's 8 episodes in the season, so we are at the halfway point. For me, this felt the pace really slowed down for this episode, and it seemed like a setup episode. A lot of strings got kind of put into place or furthered a little bit more. We're seeing again cracks with the hybrids towards rebellion, where each of their own reasons they can cause chaos. We're seeing Boy Cavalier uh, come out a little bit more out of his shell. We're seeing the Morrow situation where he's kind of trying to get in there. We see Kirsch maybe planning something with his observation. There's a lot of strings that got furthered or got put in place during this episode. Um, what are some things or a thing that you guys see happening, going forward based off of this episode?
Oh, I think that the obvious thing will be that Slightly is going to try to freaking get Hermit freaking
Mhm.
face huggered, most definitely. The look on his face of determination is like, oh, there's my guy. He's the one. It's like, ah, damn it. It's a poor kid. He's being freaking used. Doesn't even know it. But I don't think it's gonna stop. I could see him maybe like, because that's where they're pointing us at. It could be a misdirect. I could see someone else being put in danger because I don't think that Hermit's going to be that stupid to go with him and like go with the face hugger because he knows now that there's some shit going down. I
Yeah.
don't think he's going to be that dumb, but I can see him trying to get him in there and someone else is put in danger. Some other innocent, like maybe one of the doctors gets impregnated instead. So I can see something like that happening. I also, side note, I think Boy Cavalier totally killed his family.
Oh, yeah, he
I
hates
think
family.
he organized that whole thing.
He hates family. That was very clear on that when he
Yeah,
used to decide no moms, dads, sisters. No, he hates family.
yeah. And it's like, oh man, this guy, like he's more devious than we probably anticipated.
Marie, what do you think we could be looking forward to after this episode?
Well, one thing I want to say also before I say that is I don't understand unless we see a scene how all the cameras are shut down. I don't understand how they haven't found Morrow yet. I don't understand
Uh,
why the parents aren't monitored, gave their kids to the thing. Like I would think that I just don't know because they're like, we will have him by the end of the day. And it's been like a few days, they still don't have him. There's cameras everywhere, they haven't addressed that yet. That still bugs me. Um, so that still bugs me. That's still like weighing on me. Like, why is he still up walking around? Why is he in restaurants? Why is he here? Like, they should know where he is. Maybe they do. I don't know. I just would like to. I'd like some clarification on that. Um. Uh. I think yes. Well. My husband's talking to me after he goes. I think that Hermit will be the one with the face hugger, and the fake lung is going to play a part. Like, there's going to be something there with that because it seems convenient. It seems like something's going to happen with the fake lung, I think, and the chest burster. I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited to see more conflict between, oh, I'm excited is the word. Interested to see the conflict between like the hybrids and each other, the hybrids and the company. I'm interested to see more evilness come out of like Boy Genius. I'm interested to see all that. But I'm finding that the most interesting things about this show have nothing to do with Alien. So I'm looking at this show like this could have been a completely different show. Take
yeah.
Xenomorph out, take Alien out, and I probably would have liked it more. But I'm expecting so much because it's an Alien show, and I'm not getting enough Alien or Xenomorph or horror or that same atmosphere or feeling from Alien where it feels still shoehorned in and it doesn't feel organic to the story. It's like make a whole different show about these other aliens and the hybrids and what it is to be human and everything like that. Or don't have this season have xenomorphs at all. Have it just be the companies and build up or something because right now it doesn't feel like the best things about this episode was the character building. I think finally we're getting some character building, some character development, some quiet moments where we get to actually be like, okay, I can see you. I'm starting to understand this character, starting to have feelings towards this character. But all the alien stuff is not present enough. And I think that the fact that it's an alien show is ruining the show for me. If that makes sense.
And then I did think about the whole why that haven't they found them during this episode here.
Hmm.
And one, I think Boy Cavalier doesn't give a crap out of him. I don't think he's even in his mind. We haven't heard him even mention him once, so I don't think he is. I have a feeling by seeing Kirsch's behavior in this one, Kirsch knows where he is. He knows what he's
I
doing.
was thinking the same thing.
He's just
Yeah.
letting it happen.
Hmm. Hmm.
Especially if he knows they're communicating. I'm sure he's tracked the communication. He knows that he was with the parents, well, with the mom and the brothers, and I think he's
Hmm.
letting it play out. Why? We don't know yet. But this episode
Hmm.
kind of showed me it's like, okay, I don't think Boy Cavalier even has moral in his mind. I don't think he cares about him. But I think Kirsch is watching and keeping tabs. And whether it's a plan or it's curiosity or his scientific mind, he's just letting him do his thing. Maybe
Maybe he's going to
even
get
letting
Boy
him come to
Genius out of
him.
the way. Maybe he wants to, maybe he's going to use this. Maybe he wants whatever kid with Cavalier guy out of the picture and he's trying to figure out how can I do it so it's like he did it to himself or it was an accident or it was one of these aliens. You know what I mean? So maybe that's
Yeah.
what's going to
I
Yeah.
feel like
happen.
there's something there, or he can even be like, why am I going to go chase this guy? He's going to come to me. Let me let him
Hmm.
come to me.
Yeah.
Type aspect. So yeah, I do feel they set up quite a few things in this episode. We're going to get a chaos soon. I don't think we'll get it yet. Probably when we get to like maybe the last two episodes is probably where
Yeah.
we get full chaos. We might get more setup next episode, which I mean I don't fully mind as long as it's actually moving the story along. So this one was set up, but it moved, it developed characters and moved certain story points along. So we get a couple of more of these, or at least just one more of these. I don't mind. I don't fully expect us to really get into the chaos into the last couple episodes. But there's a lot of things all leading to a collision course with the next two episodes. So like I feel the pacing is going to start picking up as we get further along. Certain things, it looks obvious where it's going. There seems to be foreshadowing, like Boy Cavalier is probably not going to make it the entire series.
Yeah.
But is it going to be
Yeah.
xenomorph? Is it going to be a hybrid that takes him out? Is it going to be that eye that he was staring down, like that ends up like taking him? Because the eye might look at him if it can't and be like, "Oh, okay, you're the smart one. Like I can do a lot with that brain." And stuff. So like little things like that where it's like we kind of know where it's going, but how is it going to get there? So I am curious. As next week we get into episode 5, the start of the second half. We'll see how that goes. But I want to thank all those of you that have joined us for this bonus NASS episode. If you enjoyed this episode and you want to catch any of our previous episodes as well as our future episodes, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. So if you do want to be alerted of future drops, makes it easy peasy. You click that, and YouTube will let you know when we drop the new episodes. And we're going to be doing this for every episode for the rest of the season. So the next 4 episodes. If you didn't enjoy this episode, maybe some of our other episodes will grab your attention and be more down your alley. You can find our show on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and pretty much wherever else we have podcasts. If you love our amazing personalities, or you just want to hate watch us, you can find us on Not a Strong Star on all the major social media platforms. Me personally, you can find me at This Is Mi Nombre on Instagram.
And you can follow me at Nicolopolis.
You can follow me at Marie Plays It All.
You can follow Marie on Marie Plays It
Marie!
All. And as always, we might not always have a strong start, but we guarantee to sometimes, maybe, possibly have a strong finish. So until next time.